The man under the bed. You ever get that feeling at night, like you're not alone in your own house? That's how it started for me. Just a weird feeling, like something was off, but I brushed it off. I was a 23-year-old woman, living alone for the first time. A little paranoia was normal, right? Until I found the plate. The dirty plate I didn't use. I had just moved into a small rental house in a quiet neighborhood outside of Denver. It was old but cheap. Just me, my dog Marley, and a few boxes I hadn't unpacked yet. The first couple of weeks were uneventful, just getting used to the creaks and groans of an older place. The water pipes made weird noises. The floors moaned when the house cooled at night. Normal stuff. But then little things started happening. I'd wake up and the hall light would be on, even though I was sure I'd turned it off before bed. Food from the fridge would be slightly moved, not gone, just moved. And then one night, I came home from work and found a plate on the counter. Not just any plate, a dirty plate. Fork, crumbs, grease smears, like someone had eaten a full meal. But here's the thing, I hadn't eaten at home that day. I stood there staring at it for a long time, trying to come up with any explanation. Maybe I had done it and forgotten. Maybe I was just exhausted. Was I losing it? But deep down I knew I didn't. I checked the locks. Every door was still locked. The windows were shut. I told myself I was just being stupid and went to bed. But Marley wouldn't stop barking that night. He kept growling at the bedroom closet. Hackles up, low warning growls. I placed him in the living room and shut the bedroom door to keep him from pacing all night. I wish I'd listened to him. The next night I did something weird. I took a photo of the inside of my fridge before I went to bed. I wanted proof. If food moved again, I'd know for sure. The next morning I opened the fridge and, yeah, stuff had definitely been moved. A soda can I placed in the back was now front and center. A slice of cheese was gone. A new jar of mayo I hadn't touched had been open. I felt sick. I didn't even eat breakfast. I just stared at the fridge for a solid 5 minutes. Someone had been in my house while I slept. I called the cops. They looked around, but there were no signs of forced entry. Nothing broken. No fingerprints they could lift. They were polite, but I could tell they thought I was either mistaken or messing with them. So I bought cameras. I got a couple cheap indoor security cams from Best Buy. Set one up in the living room, another in the kitchen. I didn't tell anyone, just in case. That night I locked every door, checked every window, set the cams, and tried to sleep. Around 3:40 a.m., Marley started growling again. But this time it wasn't at the closet. It was at the bed. He was standing rigid, facing the floor beneath me, growling like his life depended on it. And then I heard a sound I'll never forget, a cough, from under the bed. I jumped out of bed so fast I slammed into the dresser. What the? Marley was barking like crazy. I didn't even think. I grabbed my phone and ran outside in my nightie and called 911. The cops showed up 10 minutes later. They found a man under my bed. A freaking man. He was dirty, thin, shaking, probably in his 40s. He'd been living in the crawl space under the house. There was an old hatch hidden in the back of the closet that led to crawl space and the floor vent under the bed. He'd been sneaking out at night through the floor vent, in my bedroom right under my bed, eating my food, watching me sleep. He had a knife in his backpack. The police said he'd probably been there for a few weeks, watching and waiting. If Marley hadn't barked that night, I don't even want to think about what would have happened. I moved out later that week. To this day, I check under my bed every single night, even in hotels, everywhere I sleep. It's not a joke. It's a habit now. Because sometimes the thing you're scared of isn't in your head. It's under your bed. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content and to watch more scary videos. Please share with family and friends. The motel room next door. It was around 2 a.m. when I heard the first knock, but it wasn't on the door. It came from the wall, right behind the headboard where my girlfriend was sleeping. 3 slow, deliberate knocks, and then nothing. Just silence, heavy and unnatural, like the room itself was holding its breath. We were staying at a cheap roadside motel in the middle of nowhere. No town for miles, no lights outside besides the flickering neon vacancy sign. And apparently the room next door wasn't supposed to be occupied. It was last summer. My girlfriend and I were on a long road trip, driving cross country to visit her parents. We'd been on the road for 10 hours straight and needed a place to crash for the night. The GPS showed a motel about a half-mile off the highway, just a single row of rooms and a tiny front office. Nothing fancy, but we were exhausted, and it had a vacancy. The guy at the front desk barely looked up from his phone. He gave us a key to room 7, said don't lose it, and went back to scrolling. The place smelled like dust and cheap air freshener. There were water stains on the ceiling and one of those old TVs with static humming in the background. Still, it was quiet, isolated. We figured we'd sleep for a few hours and be back on the road before sunrise. But something felt off. It's hard to explain. The room was cold, like unnaturally cold, even though it was 80 degrees outside. And there was this strange pattern scratched into the wood of the nightstand, like someone had been digging their nails into it over and over. My girlfriend noticed it too, but we just laughed it off, chalking it up to the place being old and sketchy. We fell asleep around midnight, and then I woke up 2 hours later to a weird sound. At first I thought it was someone walking to their room, a weird shuffling noise like fast pacing. I peeked through the blinds. There was a man in the parking lot. He was walking in tight circles, muttering to himself, hands twitching like he was agitated. No car near him, no luggage, just a man alone in the middle of a cracked asphalt lot, pacing like he was arguing with someone who wasn't there. Then he stopped and looked directly at our window, not like a glance. He locked eyes with me. I quickly closed the blinds and backed away. My heart was pounding. I quietly locked the deadbolt and slid the chain across. That's when I heard it, 3 slow knocks, not from the door, but they came from the other side of the wall, right behind our bed. I froze. My girlfriend stirred but didn't wake up. I didn't want to scare her. I leaned in slowly, pressing my ear to the wall. That's when I heard it, whispering, soft, rhythmic, over and over, like a chant. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. I quickly stepped back. I called the front desk, told them someone was in the room next to us and it was freaking us out. There was a pause, then the guy said, "Room 8? That room's empty. Been locked up for weeks." He sounded tired, annoyed, like I had woken him up. I insisted he check. A few minutes later I heard him outside, keys jingling. The door to room 8 opened, then silence. Then he knocked on our door. I opened it a crack. He looked confused, pale. "There's nothing in there," he said, "just a chair in the middle of the room. Seriously, no one has been in there for weeks." I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. Every creak of the walls made me jump. But just before dawn I heard it again, whispering, not through the wall this time, inside our room. I sat up in bed, holding my breath. The room was dark except for a sliver of light from the bathroom. Something was casting a shadow across the floor. Long, thin legs, bare feet, like someone was standing just out of view in the doorway. I reached over to wake my girlfriend, but she wasn't there. I scrambled up. She was in the bathroom, staring into the mirror, eyes wide open, whispering to herself, "Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me." I grabbed her and our things and rushed to the car. We left before the sun came up, didn't even stop to check out, just got in the car and drove. She doesn't remember doing it. She swears she never got out of bed. And the worst part, sometimes when we stay in hotels now, I'll still hear those words, coming from the other side of the wall. "Don't look at me." Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content and to watch more scary videos. Please share with family and friends. The girl in the freezer aisle. I used to work night shifts at a 24-hour grocery store in a pretty quiet town. I was the kind of person who liked the solitude. No crowds, no chatter, just me, the fluorescent lights, and the occasional tired customer grabbing snacks or beer at 2 a.m. But after what happened a few months ago, I quit. I still don't like walking through grocery stores, especially the freezer section. It was a Thursday night, technically Friday morning around 3:30 a.m. That was usually the deadest hour. Just me stocking the freezer and the buzz of the old fridges humming like background noise. I was in aisle 9 organizing frozen dinners when I saw her. A girl standing at the end of the aisle, pale skin, dark hoodie, maybe 5'4", just standing completely still in front of the freezer doors, staring into them like she was looking at her reflection. I gave a casual, "Hey, can I help you find anything?" No response. She didn't even flinch. I figured she was high or just zoned out, so I went back to stocking the freezer. A few minutes later, I looked back and she was gone. Didn't hear her walk away. No footsteps. Just gone. That would have been weird enough. But when I went to clock out an hour later, I noticed something weird with the cameras. We had a monitor behind one of the counters that showed the security feeds. Most employees barely glanced at it. But that night, something caught my eyes to it. There she was. Same girl. Standing in aisle 9 again, only I was also in aisle 9. In the footage, I was kneeling stocking a shelf in the freezer, but she was behind me, just standing there about 2 feet behind me. No sound, no movement, just staring at the back of my head. And I never saw her. I never knew she was behind me. I rewound the footage maybe a dozen times, trying to figure out how the hell she got behind me without making a sound. The footage never shows her walking up. Every time it was the same. She was just there, and then she was gone. I called over the only other guy working that night, James. The overnight manager showed him the footage and asked him if he saw her come in or leave. He shook his head. No one's walked through the doors in over an hour. We both checked the store aisle by aisle, but she wasn't there. I tried to brush it off as a glitch in the camera. Maybe old footage, maybe some prank. I was just reaching, but then something even worse happened. 2 nights later, same shift. I'm in the stockroom organizing cleaning supplies when James radios me. "Hey, did you leave a freezer door open?" I froze, because I had just finished making sure they were all closed and no one was here but James and I. Some of the freezer doors have alarms if they're left open too long, and when I walked back out, one of them was swinging open. There were wet footprints on the tile floor. Barefoot print, small ones. They led out of the freezer and stopped right at the end of the aisle, right where she stood the other night. Then nothing after that. We checked the footage again. This time there was no glitch, no strange appearance. The freezer door slowly opened by itself, and those footprints appeared one by one with nothing visible making them. James tried to laugh it off, said it had to be condensation, faulty tiles. He didn't even believe that bull. He left an hour later, said he felt sick. I don't blame him. The next time I saw her was in the employee break room. It was around 4 a.m. I was microwaving some leftover pasta. The room was quiet, lights flickering like usual. I opened the fridge to grab a soda, and in the reflection of the stainless steel, I saw her face. Not behind me, inside the freaking fridge, pressed up against the back wall, eyes wide open, face pale and frozen, like she'd been there a long time watching from inside. I slammed the door shut and backed into the wall, knocking over a chair. Then I opened it again. Nothing. Nothing, just some old lunches and a half-empty jug of milk. I didn't even clock out. I just left. The next morning I called the manager and quit. He didn't ask why. Later that week I got a message from James. It was just a photo, a still frame from the security feed. It showed me on that day walking through the freezer aisle to the break room holding my food, and her in the freezer aisle again. But this time she wasn't standing still. She was following me to the break room. I don't know who she is. I don't know how she keeps getting in. But every now and then, James would go through old security footage and send me another picture, another frame. Every moment she's caught on camera, it's with me. She's never facing the camera, always looking at or following me. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content and to watch more scary videos. Please share with family and friends. The man behind the vents. You ever notice something small and weird in your house, something off, but you brush it off, tell yourself you're being paranoid? Yeah, I did that too, until I found out someone had been living in my apartment for weeks without me knowing, and the way I found out, I still can't sleep thinking about it. I'm a 26-year-old woman, living alone in a one-bedroom apartment on the top floor of a 3-story building of a pretty nice building. Nothing super fancy, but not sketchy either. I've been here for about 2 years, and I've always felt safe. A couple months ago, I started hearing weird noises. Not loud, just little things, like faint tapping. Sometimes it sounded like scratching, but it always came from the vents. At first I thought it was mice or something, maybe an animal on the roof. But maintenance checked it out and said everything looked fine. No signs of animals, no loose parts. They said it was probably just the building settling. I wanted to believe that. The sounds got worse at night. That's when it got hard to ignore. I'd be lying in bed scrolling through my phone and I'd hear this soft metallic thud, like something bumping the inside of the air duct. And sometimes it wasn't even the sound that got me. It was the timing. The noises would stop when I looked up. How weird. Like whoever or whatever was making the noises knew I was listening. Then there was the smell. This sour, damp smell that started coming through the vents. I bought air fresheners, cleaned like crazy. Nothing worked. I'd wake up some mornings and the smell would be so strong it made me gag. One night I decided to record while I slept. Just set my phone on the dresser with the camera pointing toward the hallway between my living room and bedroom. The next morning I checked the footage, and at 3:47 a.m. there was movement. The hallway light was off, but the camera caught something. Just for a second, a shape moved across the hallway, low to the ground, fast, like someone or something crawling. I paused and rewound the video 100 times. It wasn't a shadow, and I don't have any pets. It was a person. What the hell? I freaked out. I checked every inch of my apartment, every closet, under the bed, even the crawl space above the bathroom. Nothing. I went to the landlord, asked if anyone had keys. He said just him, maintenance, and me. But he agreed to change the locks just in case. That should have made me feel better. But it didn't. A few nights later, I was in the living room watching TV with all the lights off. That's when I heard it. Breathings. Not mine, not the TV. Slow, heavy breathing coming from the air vent above the couch, followed by that terrible sour smell. I turned the volume down and just listened, and it didn't stop. I grabbed a chair and climbed up to the vent. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the screwdriver. I unscrewed the cover slowly. Behind it, nothing, just darkness. I shined my phone flashlight inside, and that's when I saw them. Two eyes, wide, blinking, human eyes staring back at me from deep inside the duct. I dropped my phone, fell off the chair. I got up, grabbed my phone, and ran out of my apartment barefoot. I called the cops from the hallway. When they got there, they didn't find anyone in the vents, but they found evidence that someone had been in there. Blankets, food wrappers, and his phone. There were videos on it, dozens, all of me, sleeping, showering, eating. Some were filmed through the vents, others were filmed from inside my room. The police think he got in through a maintenance hatch on the roof that connects to the ducts. They don't know how long he was in there. Could have been weeks, maybe more. He hasn't been caught. Every now and then I think I hear something. A soft creak. A breath that isn't mine. I moved, obviously. But some nights I still wake up and stare at the vent above my bed in my new place. And I wonder if someone's staring back. Stay safe. Check your vents. You never know who's watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content and to watch more scary videos. Please share with family and friends.